Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Jimerson. I'm the 4th grade math teacher at Cypress Point Elementary. Today, I've got a great lesson for you about place value and some different aspects of place value. So let's go ahead and get started. Our learning target or our learning goal today is that I can interpret a multiplication equation as a comparison. So we see that word multiplication, so I know that I'm going to be doing something with multiplication. Whenever we do place value, we can consider that as multiplication whenever we move from one place value to the next. Okay? So let's first start with an application problem. We always want to start with a little warm-up just to get our brains going and just to make sure that we're ready for today's lesson. Okay? So the problem says, Ben has a rectangular area 9 meters long and 6 meters wide. He wants a fence that will go around it as well as grass sod to cover it. How many meters of fence will he need? How many square meters of grass sod will he need to cover the entire area? So that's a couple of different things they're asking us to do. Now, whenever we have a word problem, we always want to underline the important things or circle the important things that will help us kind of keep our brains focused on those particular things. So let's look at this again. So Ben has a rectangular area 9 meters long. So I think that's pretty important right there. So let's underline that. But it's also 6 meters wide. That's also very important in this problem. Okay? He wants a fence that will go around it, but he also wants grass to go on the inside. So we need to think about what we learned in 3rd grade that will help us figure out what we need to go around the fence and then what we can use for the inside for the grass. So I'm going to just draw a picture too. That's always going to help me. So I'm going to just draw a rectangle here because it tells me it's a rectangular area and it's 9 meters. Let's try this again. So I'm going to draw the picture again. Again, he has a rectangular area that's 9 meters long. I'm just going to put that down there, and it's 6 meters wide. And it's always important to label our picture so that we can see it as we are working it out. Now, let's go back to the point where we need to figure out the fence that will go around it. If we're looking for the measurement of a rectangle shape, we need to find the perimeter. And again, that's something that you learned in 3rd grade. So whenever we do perimeter, we know that we need to add all of those sides up. So if the bottom is 9 meters, the top is also 9 meters. I'm just going to put that over the words there. If one side is 6 meters, the other side is also 6 meters. So now I have 4 numbers that I'm going to have to add up. So to the side, I'm going to add those numbers up. So I'm going to have 9, 9, 6, and 6. So take a second, and I want you to think about what that addition answer or that sum would be. So take just a second and think about adding those 4 numbers up. So let's add those up together. All right, I'm going to start with 9 plus 9. 9 plus 9 is going to give me 18. Then I'm going to add 6 more to that. So then I need to think 18 plus 6, that's going to give me 24. And then 24 plus 6 more is going to give me 30. So he's going to need 30 meters of fence to go around his rectangular area. But that's not the only question that it asks us. It also asks us about the grass side. So now we need to figure out the area. We figured out the outside. Now we need to figure out the inside. Ready? All right, let's do that. Now, again, as you learned in 3rd grade, area is going to be length times width. So we already know that the length is 9 meters, the width is 6 meters. So over to the side, we're going to write a multiplication sentence that will help us figure that out. So that's going to be 9 times 6. So think about your multiplication fact families, and let's think about 9 times 6. And 9 times 6 is going to give me 54. Now, whenever we're talking about area, it's always going to be in square units. So if this particular unit is meters, So the measurement would be 54 square, and I'm just going to abbreviate that, SQ, square meters. Just squeeze that in down there. So he needs 30 meters of fence and 54 square meters of grass sod. All right. Let's keep going. All right, now this is just a little fluency activity about place value. So it says, show 4 ones as place value discs. So we're just going to represent our place value disc as 4 ones. Now, if I have 4 ones, I know that my number is just going to be 4. But they're going to ask us to add something to that. Now it says, show 4 tens as well. And then it also says to write the number or write the digit below that. So I have 4 ones, so I represented that with the 4. And I also have 4 tens, so that's also the digit 4. Now, it says to say the number in unit form. Now, if you remember from 3rd grade, unit form means we're using those place value words. For example, I would say I have 4 tens and 4 ones. So 4 tens and 4 ones. Again, just using those place value words. And then the last thing they want us to do is to say it in standard form. Standard form just means we're using those numbers. We're not going to say anything about the tens or the ones. We're just going to say the number. So the way that we would say this number is 44. All right, let's do some more practice, you guys. Okay, now we're getting into the good part of this lesson. Now, this particular activity is called 10 times as many. So let's think about this part right here. 10 times as many. Now, if you remember, our learning target or our learning goal had something to do with multiplication. So this 10 times as many means we're going to be starting in one place value, and we're going to be multiplying that number to get a bigger place value. So they first want us to start with 1 unit in the tens place. So there's our 1 place value disc. And it says, how many units do I have? Well, I have 1 unit of 10. So I have 1 10 so far. And then the name, again, would just be 110 or 10. And then we're going to multiply that times 10. You ready? All right, so now you're going to count with me as I multiply 1 times 10. So what's 1 times 10? It is 10. So let's go ahead and add those. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I took the 110 and I multiplied it times 10. And 1 times 10 gives me 10. Now let's look at what we have before we can move on. You notice that I have 10 tens. And we don't typically walk around and say, oh, I have 10 tens in my pocket. We don't say that. We could change that and say that I have 1 of a bigger number. So let's look at that. If I have 10 $10 bills, let's just say that, I could trade that in for a larger bill. I could trade that in and make that $100 bill, right? So think about that. I had 10 tens and I bundled those and traded it for 100. Now, it's still the same number. It's still the same value, 100. And then I would have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So it still means the same thing and it still has the same value. We just made it a little bit smaller to keep up with. I would probably not want to keep up with 10 $10 bills. I'd rather have just one $100 bill. Okay, so what we just did is we took those tens and multiplied them by 10 to make a 100. Okay, now let's erase that and move on. Okay, let's look at another one. This time we're going to start with 1 unit in the hundreds place. Okay, so now I have 1 100. So let's think about that $100 bill. Okay? Now they want us to also multiply this times 10. So again, 1 times 10 gives me 10. It doesn't matter what place value I'm in. 1 times 10 is always going to give me 10. So let's make 10 of the hundreds. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, we're done, and I see that I have a group of 10, and anytime I have a group of 10, I can bundle it and move it over to the next place value. So to show the bundle, I just make a circle around a group of 10. In this case, it was all of them. And then I just trade them or move it over, and it becomes 1,000. So let's make sure that's the same thing. This is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and then 1,000. So 1,000 is the same thing as 1 in the thousands place. Okay, you guys, let's keep moving. All right, this time they want us to represent 2 in the ones place. Now, we're going to solve to find 10 times as many. So again, we're still using that multiplication. So we're going to find the same thing as 10 times as many as 2. So before we do anything on the place value chart, let's think about that multiplication sentence. And I have it written over here as well. I have 2 ones times 10. So let's think about, what is 2 times 10? So if you think about your 10 fact families or counting or skip counting by 10s or even by 2s, what would you come up with if you had 10 times 2? Okay, so 10 times 2 is going to give me 20. So I need to turn these 2 ones into the tens place because I know that I'm multiplying 2 times 10 to get 20. So in order to do that, I need to show that I'm multiplying both of these by tens. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to represent 10 place value discs on each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Run out of room, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, that's a lot of ones. Do you think that I can keep all of those ones in the ones place? I absolutely cannot. I need to make a bundle of 10. So I know that this first group is a group of 10 or a bundle of 10, and I can move that over times 10, and that's going to become 110, right? All right, then I can take these 10, I might make my arrow down at the bottom here, and that also becomes 110. So 2 ones times 10 gave us 2 tens, or in standard form, we would just call that 20. All right, let's keep going. Oops, I went too far. All right, last one. All right, this one says 10 times 3 hundredths. So this time we're going to start in the hundreds place. So I've got 100, 200, and 300. So what they want us to do is they want us to multiply each of those hundreds by 10. So in order to do that, just as we did on the previous one, we have to make groups of 10. Okay, so we're going to be making 3 groups of 10. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's one group. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 2 groups. One more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, if you look, that's a lot of hundreds. So we're going to have to make bundles or groups of 10 and move them over to become thousands. So again, let's make a bundle of 10. That's going to move over and become 1,000. The second one also bundles over to become 1,000. And the third one, just as the others, comes over and it becomes 1,000. So we ended up with 3 in the thousands place, or 3,000s. So 10 times 300s became 3,000s. All right, so let's just do one little quick review before we end this lesson. So I just gave you a little suggestion. Each time we move up a place value, we are multiplying by 10. So we're just literally taking those place value discs, we're making each of those times 10 in order to bundle them and move them up to the next place value. All right, you guys, you did a fantastic job on this lesson. I hope to see you again soon.